Hey everyone, this is Jane with Barlow Herbal, and happy Sunday, September 4th of 2022. It's a beautiful hot day here in Utah. We've had some nice record temperatures, but I'm telling you, the beauty that is all around us is amazing. In fact, I feel like right now I have so much to share, and I'm going to try to condense this so that you don't open this video and go, oh my gosh, this is an hour or a half an hour, or even 20 minutes, but because I think that what happens is we have such short attention spans, and I've had a lot going on these last couple weeks, and I wanted to find a nice condensed way to share this with you so that maybe some of these little epiphanies I've had these last couple weeks will make a difference, and you can see a little bit of your own life in this as well. Now, one of the things that really struck me, especially these last couple of weeks, is that all of our belief systems, everything that we do in our life, is all based on basically two different emotions. It's either love or fear. All of our beliefs, we either believe something and it vibrates in the emotion, the energy of love, or it vibrates in the emotion or energy of fear. And you can actually apply this to absolutely anything in your life. And then the second big thing, especially these last couple of weeks, that has really struck me, probably the last month actually, is the idea of surrender and letting go. And I'm not talking about let everything go because things seem hopeless. I'm talking about sometimes we get in our own way. We want to control outcomes. We want to control situations. And literally when the universe or God sets up something that is maybe in our desire, maybe we desire something, and it lines up perfectly, even then sometimes we fight it. So I wanted to kind of share this with you, the story of what I've been going through this last month, and hopefully give some nuggets of inspiration for things in your own life, because I know we all go through things, and I know for a fact that we all get in our own way, right? I am 100% guilty of this because I like to control outcomes. I like to control situations. I like to know what's happening and when it's happening and where it's happening and exactly what time it's happening. And over the years, as I've gotten older, I have learned to let a lot of those things go. Like, be more spontaneous. If someone's going to be late for something, realizing that the universe has our back and that things all happen for a reason. So what happened is, if you've watched some of my videos with Stephen Ozanich, I've done 6 interviews with him over the last few years, and he's the author of a book called The Great Pain Deception. And in the first couple that I've done with him, the first one I believe was in 2015, and I talk a lot about the knee pain that I had that even drove me to meet Stephen and get a consultation with him and realize the connection between physical pain and emotional pain. And I've seen this over and over and over many, many times, where you have an old injury or you have simply back pain that comes out of nowhere, where what that is basically is you're having such painful emotions and emotional trauma, and it could be anything. It could be something big, it could be something small, and your body creates physical pain to distract you, because it's easier to deal with the physical pain, which nobody likes, nobody wants. We do all these expensive different treatments to try to get rid of pain, but the emotional pain is harder. So the body is literally protecting you. So this is something that I've been studying for a long time, and I believe in it 100%. So what happened is 25 years ago, and I'm going to try to make this condensed because I could tell you a big long story, but I want to really get to some really bits of gold I think are in this. Um, so 25 years ago, I had a really bad water ski accident, and I disconnected most of the muscle, my hamstring muscle on my left leg. And the only thing that it stopped me from doing was running after that. So I've been very, very, very active. I continued to teach exercise classes. I hiked. I've been doing all these things and just living a totally active lifestyle. And then this was 25 years ago. And then about 10 years ago, I started having a lot of pain in my knee. And I realized that this was kind of a repercussion from that old water ski accident. As I would go in, I would get x-rays, I would see what's going on with my knee. I had a ton of chiropractic adjustments. I had a ton of PRP injections to help stimulate growth and get that, everything healing in the knee. I did a ton of energy work. I did a ton of supplementation, and I even had a couple of stem cell injections directly in my knee. And this I've been doing for about the last 10 years, but very, very hardcore the last 5 years. And what happened is I reached a point this last year where my knee, I was just having pain walking up and down stairs. Sometimes I'd be laying in bed sleeping, I would turn over and my knee would cause me a throb of pain. And so I've seen a couple of different orthopedic surgeons over the last couple of years and had x-rays just to see what that knee is doing. And both of them said, that looks like a knee replacement. The longer you can wait, the better. So just when you're ready, whatever. And me as a person who totally believes in the body's ability to heal, and I still totally believe this, I do think there are situations where we need to say modern medicine is a miracle, and the things that we can do in trauma care and things like knee replacements and hip replacements and surgeries that we can do and different things that we can do to save lives, this is all part of it. And I think that the part of my journey is being able to say, let go and say, okay, at what point is this not only impeding your lifestyle, but you need to say, how much are you willing to release and let it go and maybe do something that you know you need to do. So basically, the first week in August, I reached out to one of my very dear friends who's very well connected in the in the industry, but in like medicine and natural medicine. And I just said, hey, do you know a good orthopedic surgeon? Because I think I'm ready to get my knee done. And he texted me right back, which is rare because he's so busy and he's got so many things going on. He texted me right back, gave me the name of an orthopedic surgeon that's near and in our area. And I called this person, their office, and I got an appointment for like 4 days later for just a consultation and x-rays. And I'm like, okay, that's the first sign that I need to release whatever I need to release and get out of my own way. Then I went in for the appointment. We did all the x-rays. It's like, yeah, and your leg's kind of starting, it's like, I'm not sure quite how you're functioning without pain. I'm like, well, I'm really not. I'm pushing myself and doing things that I love anyway, but at a much lesser scale. So how soon do you want to come in? And I said, well, how soon? What do you got? And he had like 2.5 weeks later. And I was like, okay, all right, let's do it. And so I got put in the schedule for literally 2.5 weeks later. And then I had a whole bunch of stuff I had to do because I had to I don't have a primary care physician. I don't have, I've never been in the hospital except to have my babies, which was 40 years ago. And I've never had surgery. I've never been under anesthesia. I've never done any of this stuff. So I had to find someone that would fit with my way I want to take care of myself. So I found a holistic doctor. He got me right in. I had to get an EKG, lab work, blood work. I had to do all this. I had to get a clearing from my dentist, all of this stuff. And what's insane, and I'm not going to go into all the details, but there were things that lined up because within 2.5 weeks, I had all of these things completely done. And I was just kind of like, okay, I'm not going to try to fight this on any level. And one of the things that was really fascinating to me is when I talked to this orthopedic surgeon, and then I made the decision to go ahead and do this. He said, well, these are the list of things that the medications that we want you to go on after you get your knee done. And I looked at the list, and I'm familiar. There was a short term, like 24 hours of antibiotics. There was some things if you get constipated. There was something that if you got nausea from the constipation medicine, you took a nausea medicine. And I'm just like, well, I'm not going to do any of those. But there was one that was for inflammation. It was a prescription for an anti-inflammatory drug that I was actually very familiar with because I talked to so many people with rheumatoid arthritis, different inflammation issues, and we've been able to swap out that medication for natural things. So when I saw this medication on this list, I said, well, you know, this is an anti-inflammatory, right? And he said, yes. And I said, well, I've got some natural remedies that I would like to use in place of it. And he said, well, what are they? And I told him, I said, they are turmeric, cat's claw, and CBD. And he said, oh, those sound good. That you can totally replace that with this medication. I'm like, okay. I found a person who is not only open but had an idea. He knew exactly what those were, and so that right there. So like I said, everything just kind of fell into place. And there's a whole dental story that I'm not going to bore you with, but there were just things that lined right up. So on the 22nd, which was a Monday, which was 2 weeks ago tomorrow, I went in for my very first surgery and I had a full knee replacement. And I will tell you, I never once felt anxious. I didn't feel nervous. I didn't feel scared. I didn't feel apprehensive. I knew that this was the right time. And I knew that the universe and God, universe, God, whatever you want to call it, had lined this up for me and everything to happen for me because it was something I needed to do. I'd tried everything natural, everything in my power that I knew how to do physically, emotionally, mentally. I feel like I worked on it energetically, all of the things that I knew or in my arsenal, I worked on doing. So to me, the main message here is this, to surrender and let go. Sometimes letting go of the need to always be right, the need to always be in control. Um, and I'm not saying give away your freedom, give away your power. I'm not saying any of those things. I think if you're a strong, independent person who's, in my case, I am used to being very, very, very active. And it's hard for me to accept help for things that physically I can do myself. Like I have two beautiful young men who are my sons. And they can, like, for them to do these things for me, I'm so independent and I'm so strong-willed. And this experience really taught me that it's okay to release expectations. It's okay to release my idea of what I think should happen. In fact, what I wrote is, after all of this, how do I envision the future? Okay, because that's pretty big, right? We have to be able to truly let go of expectations, past experiences, fear, doubt, and disappointment. And let's go back to what I said in the very beginning. We live our life based on our belief systems with either love or fear. And when I went into this whole thing, I was actually a little surprised that my level of fear was zero. Now, to say that this has, the last couple of weeks have not been painful and challenging, but I'm just like, wow, what a gift I just got handed. And I know that I'm going to rock through this whole rehabilitating my knee. And it's, to me, it's like, okay, now moving forward from here, how do I continue this, letting things take care of themselves? And I'm not saying don't be lazy. I'm not saying be lazy and don't take action. I'm not saying any of that. But sometimes we literally get in our own way. So here's an interesting thought too. No one really knows what happens when we die. I mean, no one really knows. I think even for people who've had near-death experiences, even though there's so many things that seem to be consistent with people they see on the other side and moving toward the light and all of these things, um, I don't, I think we all have our hope. I think the more spiritually aware that I become, I feel like I'm able to have a good idea that we are eternal and that our souls are endless and that we are here for such a beautiful reason, and that the fog of fear is starting to lift off of this planet as people are realizing the capacity to love and the ability of humanity to be compassionate and empathetic and sovereign, free humans. Like, we're realizing that we've been caught and stuck in these deep programs. I've never seen anything like it. I think it's a reason to celebrate and to have extreme hope in the future. And every time you get yourself caught in those little moments of maybe a fear-based thought, and that might just be something that's a loop that goes around and around in your mind, recognize it and release it and replace it. Replace it with the energy of love. And the more you do this, the easier it gets. And I would say the biggest thing right now, and I'm going to put myself in this category too, is to disconnect as much as you can from your technology. Because even if you're watching and listening to things that reconfirm your belief systems and the things that you see happening in the world, even too much of that is not good. It's not good. We need to start using our imaginations more. We need to get out in nature. In fact, one of the things that has really started happening to me, we have a lot of cool mountains here in Utah. In fact, the Salt Lake Valley sits between one range of mountains on one side and another range of mountains on another side. And they're beautiful. There's the Wasatch Mountains on one, and there's the Ochre Mountains on the other side. And we get really beautiful clouds and skies. And what's interesting to me is these last, probably since the spring, when when we're able to spend a lot of time sitting outside and being outside, I'll just sit, and maybe after a meal or even before a meal, and I'll look at the sky, and I will notice, and my imagination just goes crazy because the different faces I see, the shapes I see, the animals, the ideas that I get by just looking at the clouds and the way that they change and move. These are the things that we're not supposed to miss as far as the experience and the expectations of being a human on this planet. I think that's so beautiful. So, maybe I'll end it there. I think that's a really good place. I think that, uh, if we're able to see the way things really are when we take our last breath and we transition, I think we're going to be blown away by the things that we put so much intent on and so much negativity on and so much stress on. I think we would be hopefully not in regret, because there's a veil down here, but I feel like the veil is so thin right now. And never before has humanity seen on a global scale, because we're so connected by technology, the shift that's happening for all of us. And to me, it's a beautiful thing to witness. So let's just end this with this. Let your belief systems rotate in the vibration of love, and focus on that, and release all fear. To say that I went into this major, I think it's a major surgery, but to realize that I went into this with such calmness, it is undescribable to go into this feeling that way. I really, it's amazing. I mean, I really don't know how else to put it. So, you know what, if you have any experiences like this, or maybe this inspires you to literally look at the gifts that life hands you, the gifts that God gives us, and when we're in our own way and we don't realize that all we have to do is just say yes, and then kind of get out of our own way, take the action steps that are necessary, but then let it happen, because it will happen exactly the way that it's supposed to. If things are supposed to happen, you don't have to force them. You never have to force things that are right and good and correct. And life is brilliant. We are moving into such an amazing time. So I hope you guys have an absolutely beautiful Sunday and a beautiful week ahead. It's been an incredible journey so far, and I'm ready for this knee to get all the way better so I can climb to the highest peaks of my favorite mountains. I've only been able to do little short hikes this summer, but I'm ready for I feel like a whole new lease, whole new lease. So I hope this resonates with you in some little nugget, and I thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up as usual, comment. I'd love to hear some of your own experiences, And thank you again for watching. Have a brilliant day, and we'll talk to you soon.